Today we're going to talk about Wayward, which is a book I wrote based on the genealogy uh, and the stories I found about the people in the family tree. Now we'll go right back, but since there's 25,000 persons named in the tree, I'm going to limit this to just one particular time period in one particular ancestral line, which would be the Franks, the founders of France and that sort of thing. Rome has just fallen, and now we have all these little petty kingdoms springing up. Anyway, but first off, we will have Basina, or Basina, Queen of Thuringia, there in middle Germany, around 450. She's a mother of Clovis I, who the French think is the founder of France. She left her husband, King Basinius, and married, bigamously married, Childeric I of the Franks. By all accounts, she was quite a gal and a political player, which at that time was not uncommon, because there was a power vacuum and various tribes were moving everywhere, trying to get the most riches and the most fertile lands. Now, Clovis I, king of the Franks, gained his kingdom by being the winner in a campaign of war and outright murder of his brothers and his brothers' children. He then rather disingenuously lamented, around 500 AD, that he had no family left. Well, no, you killed them all. What'd you expect? Now, he died between 511 and 513, whereupon his united kingdom that he had gained by foul play, he then divided up amongst all his sons, which then went and started the whole thing all over again. And then began the habit that the Franks had of uniting, dividing, uniting again, in the midst of wholesale slaughter. And in this wholesale slaughter, the queens also became involved. We now turn to the story of Queen Brunhilde. Yes, they really did name their people such names. Queen Brunhilde versus Queen Fredegund. Now, the unfortunate habit continued. Sigebert married Brunhilde, who was the daughter of the Visigothic king Athengild down in Spain. And the Visigoths moved from one side of Europe down into Spain because Attila the Hun, if you remember your European history. Now, his marriage to Brunhilde was the high society marriage of the day. The Charles and Di, if you will. Now, Sigebert's brother, Chilperic, was jealous, so he also sought to marry a high-status lady. So he set aside his first wife, Aduvera, and also his concubine, Fredegund. And then he married Brunhilde's sister, Gauswintha. Now, she was a very pious and cultured young lady, and sought to rid her husband of his filthy ways, including all of his concubines, his wild drunkenness, dogs in the hall, shitting in the corners, and all that sort of thing. And then she was found strangled in her bed one morning. Chilperic then promptly turned around and married his erstwhile concubine, Fredegund. Brunhilde sought revenge for her sister's death, and thus began a blood feud that would consume both brothers, their other two brothers, and all their children and their grandsons as well, except for one. Fredegund's son, Clothar II, took Brunhilde, then in her 60s, tortured her, and executed her by having her body ripped apart by 4 horses. And this is the problem of power. Political power leads to put a bullseye on your back. It's a wonder anybody still pursues this king of the hill kind of thing. It's ridiculous. And that was just the Franks, because this pattern was repeated. Not only amongst other Franks, but also you'll see the same thing in Northumbria. You'll see the same thing in Scandinavia, where relatives vied for power and slaughtered wholesale to get it. It's ridiculous. A husband in Spain killed his wife because she was a happy, friendly person and smiled. Well, you smiled too much. You smiled at everyone and didn't save your smiles for me. So he had her slaughtered in church. Gee, thanks. Sometimes one wonders. And no, I'm not particularly murderous. But every family does have those people no one wants to meet in a dark alley. Never know what you'll turn up when you do genealogy. Thank you for watching.